Hello there, welcome to Thrifty Journal Shop. My name is Amber. If this is your first time stopping by to my channel, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. Today I'm going to do a flip through of one of my personal journals. I have filled this puppy up already. I'm so proud of myself. I started working in it in November and I think I have maybe one page left, and I've so enjoyed this journal. This is one of my favorite styles of journals to use. It was made from a paper sack, and I have just scrapped together all sorts of fabrics, all sorts of colors. I love doing that. I just love the trashy, colorful, anything goes style journal. For this journal, I did a lot of art journaling in here. I did some memory keeping. I did some collage. Really, when I journal, I call it free flowing because I just sort of free flow. I just sort of go with what I'm feeling that day. So for my memory keeping, I want to show you kind of how I do some of my memory keeping. I don't do like traditional taking photos and putting them in and writing. I sort of memory keep. I do use photos at times to memory keep. I like to use old photos, things that bring good memories and happy memories of like when I was a kid or memories of my pets. So for me, and I'm going to show you that in this spread, I like to memory keep using book pages, using children's book pages a lot. And I like to memory keep by telling a story. So I might recreate my day of what I did, and I'll use children's book pages to tell that story. And I might not even journal about it, but by looking at the page, I'll know what the story I'm trying to tell. So let's take a flip through of this sweet little journal here. You know, I love this tag. It's just cute. And I might do some journaling on it. And I love this little dog. And so I just have them hanging out here for right now. This is just a fabric leaf that I just cut out, and then I just added some fabric to it, and just using book pages. I need to actually get out my tacky glue. This wallpaper doesn't hold real well with a glue stick. I know that. So I just need to go back through and add some tacky glue. And so this is one way that I like to memory keep, to just sort of journal. And if to somebody besides me, it might not make sense. It might not really just spell it out. And I kind of like that. But I know just by looking at this, even without journaling, because I did do a little journaling here about this spread. I've done these kind of spreads before, and I'll go back and look at my journal, and I'll remember that day just by what I did. And it could be just a crazy random collage, and I'll know what it's telling. I'll know the story that it's telling, if that makes sense. So this is just a spread of nature. I was in the Upper Peninsula. Here is actually part of a map, and I was right in this area, and they had got some snow. So I went out with my snowshoes and kind of explored, and then I ended up taking my skis out. I love to backcountry ski, and I was just exploring through the Sault Ste. Marie forest, which backs up to where the cabin is. And so here's just a little fabric wallpaper house and a rabbit. Here's part of a doily. I drew a snowman. And then this is just children's book page. This is part of a cover. Here's a funky moon, a little gingerbread house, and then I just use more of the doily. And so for this journal, I don't have it out with me. This is actually my Christmas box. But for this journal, I had a green basket, and I just had some supplies inside of that. And so that's really sort of freeing too. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. The basket's just sort of nice because what I'll do is I'll just put some items that I think I'm going to use, and then I pull from the box. And for me, that's very freeing, and I don't get overwhelmed, because sometimes the more items that I have to journal with, the more I get overwhelmed, and then I might just get stuck because I have too much. And then I love this little playing card with the chickadee. And then I just did some little journaling about this spread and about this day. So this is a way that I like to memory keep. I use stickers. It's fun. It's whimsical. This is just a page out of a Reminisce magazine, and I just thought it was beautiful, so I just glued it down. This is a really simple spread. I love music paper as a background. I like the vintage yellow look. This is one of my favorite children's books. I love this little rabbit. In fact, I've drawn this little rabbit and I have him hanging in my shop. I think he's like the sweetest thing. And I just did some doodling on the star. And then here's just a little tag I made with a puffy sticker and some fabric. It's very simple and it just makes me happy. Then this is probably one of my favorite pages in here. This is just doing some doodling with some acrylic like marker pens. Here's a squirrel. I added this little cluster leaf. This is from Jovi. She had like a collab with some printables, and I used this and I used that. Just some free stuff that I printed out because I love the woodland creatures. And this is part of the book page. And then here's some pretty fabric ruffles from Carrie over at the Paper Monkey. Here's another little cluster. So for this spread, it was just simple. I started with some doodles and then I just add things. And I don't really think it through. I just know that I'm going to add whimsical animals and then I'll add fabric. And in this journal, I did something that I don't usually do. I dated a lot of my pages. Another really cute spread too. This is just more doodle paper. Then this is a really cute children's book that I had with the bear and the badger. And I just added this little cup of coffee and some words. Be grateful every day. And so I try to be grateful every day and find something. If it's super simple, like I'm grateful that I have a roof over my head and I have heat. And it's the simple little things. And sometimes that's not really a little thing, having heat. So I just try to find some kind of gratitude every day. Then a lot of times in these journals that I make, especially with my big, large glue books, I like to add pages that I don't even do anything to. Really cute children's book pages that I just want to have in the book just to look at, and I don't plan on covering them up. This wallpaper, I think it's beautiful, and I like it. And so I'm just not even going to cover it up. This is just really simple. Just added this random sticker. And here's just a journaling tag card I made with a paint chip. I love using these paint chips for journaling tags. And then I did do some journaling on the back here. And then this is just one of my fun whimsical houses. Oh, this spread was kind of fun. This almost reminds me of like the random rooms like that they do with the glue books. I had a whole different idea for this spread. So sometimes I'll have an idea in my head that I want to create. And I was going to do some kind of night scene with the moon, and that's why I painted it black. But then it just really went in a different direction. I had this truck from a calendar, and so I glued it down. And then here's just some random collage. This is from a magazine about Alaska. I added the bear. And here's just some different hikers. These are out of children's book. This is out of another magazine. The bird was out of Alaska magazine. Then I added this planet here. I added these elk, and I kind of added the bear. So I sort of collaged all this in. Then I have these two people here. So it's sort of whimsical, and I really loved how it turned out. And then I just went and added some stars. Even though, through here it looks like it's daylight, I don't know, it just looks cool and it doesn't really make sense. And I just love that kind of free journaling, glue booking, I guess. Okay, and this is a fun spread, and this is another memory keeper type of spread that I like to do. This was just from this past weekend. I was in the Upper Peninsula, and my favorite types of books to use for memory keeping are children's books. And so a lot of times when I'm thrifting for books, I'm looking for books that are nature themed, that have animals, woodland creatures, usually whimsical. And then a lot of times those books will be they're not always popular books either. You know, I love Little Golden Books and I love Richard Scarry. I really like all types of children's books. So anyway, this spread is using 3 different children's books. I'll find the name of this book. I can't think of it right now, but it's a beautiful book, and it had all of these woodland scenes and winter scenes and animals, and just the illustrations are absolutely gorgeous. Well, it had this lake, and when I saw it, it reminded me of Lake Michigan. And so this past weekend, I was up by Lake Michigan, and so I added that. Here's a turkey sitting out on the rocks. This cabin is just beautiful. And then this woman, she's out skiing. So I went skiing. I went skiing this weekend. And then I just added the play in the snow. And this is from my Duluth catalog, the Bigfoot. And up in the UP, it's kind of like a thing that you're looking for Bigfoot. Up high into the air, into the sky, into the snow clouds. This is the real way to ski. And then on this page over here, I liked the owl. So I didn't really cover the owl up, but I found this cool wood stove in another children's book. And I had the wood stove going, and it was snowing, and it just, you know, the ambiance of the scene was just beautiful. I've got my little cup of coffee with the candy cane. And then I'm just going to add this tag, and this is just a goofy tag. We went to the hardware store, so I grabbed some of the paint swatches, and this is just from the Duluth catalog. I added her head and the hat, and I'm going to do some journaling on it, and I'm just going to paper clip it right here, and it's just going to be about this scene. But I look at the scene, and you know, it creates a memory. I know what this spread is trying to tell a story and what I'm trying to remember. And then here's just another spread. This is just using some book pages and magazines, and here's a sticker. This was when I went out on my bike travels this past summer and I rode through the Upper Peninsula. I like to pick up stickers to add to my journal. Here's a bike that I had. I just drew the birch tree. Here's one of my whimsical houses, and just this is out of some kind of outdoor magazine. I like this picture of the northern lights. We have the woodchuck dancing. So just whimsical and fun. This is a Thanksgiving spread that I did, and I was just little things I was grateful for. The rabbit here, I just wrote bunnies on the deck. I've got bunnies that live under my deck, but then they come up on my deck and they come up by my slider. And this is just a napkin of a little chickadee bird. You know, I love watching the birds on my bird feeders, but I have this crab apple tree and it fills with snow, and the birds go inside, and especially the little chickadees, but the cardinals will go in there, and it just looks like little red bulbs. And it just makes me smile, just makes me happy. And then here's my afternoon mint tea. And then I just added some fabric. This is just a page. I just added a coffee cup that I had made from some fabric. Just another fun collage page, just using a cluster, little fox. I cut this tree out from a craft book. I love this wrapping paper, so I just added this big turkey, thankful and grateful. Just really easy, fun spreads in here. I love this spread. So this is a way that I use envelopes. I like to add envelopes to a lot of my journals that I sell, and usually I fill them with goodies. And so this is one way I use the envelope, is sometimes I will collage on it, I'll journal on it, and then I just fill it with like little notes. I might journal on it, or for these, I wrote some quotes. I like writing on the back of the Monopoly money. Create a life you don't want to escape from. And I really love that saying. Do what makes you feel alive. And so I just have those tucked in there. And this is just a fun spread. This is just using a stencil with some butterflies, into the wild blue yonder, autumn. I've got this cute children's book with the woodchuck. I love them. And then I just drew this star, added a little paper flower. This page is fun. This was actually part of the book page. And what I did was I just doodled all around the book page, just like how it turned out. This is some wrapping paper. I love this owl. This is part of a calendar. Go where you feel most alive. Here's another sticker that I got on my bike travels. And just a cluster with a leaf and a ticket. So this is just all using recycled stuff, thrifted items, junk, trash, and just putting it all together. This is just some of my painty paper. I had this children's book with some beautiful cats. And so I added that cat, just made a little heart here. I still have the space to fill up if I want to. Then this was part of a book jacket, and I loved it. I love the cover with the bird. It's nice and whimsical. And so here is just a trashy paper doll. I've gotten inspired lately by Lynn at A Bit of a Bird Song. I love her channel. I've been following her for a really long time. She does all sorts of things with trashy, upcycled. She just has her own style, and I really enjoy her creations. And she draws some really beautiful faces. I've always been intimidated and never really have shied away from drawing people, especially faces. So she inspired me to just give it a go. So here is just me, I'm doodling. Her skirt is made from a recycled tea box. And then this is just out of a craft book. I just drew some boots. And then I journaled on here, and I journaled a little bit about being inspired by Lynn. And I tuck that in there, and I like how she's peeking out. This is just, I haven't done anything here. This was just a journaling card that I had in here, and I probably will go back and do some journaling. So I'm just gonna leave that here. So I like tuck spots in my journals. Just another really simple spread. Here is a whimsical rainbow that I drew just using scraps, a little raccoon, and just this little saying, bloom where you are planted. And then this is just some paper scraps that I sewed together. This is just some little cutouts, a mushroom ball. This is from a bird book. This is using more of my doodle paper that I love. And once again, I just doodled around this book page. I just love it. I think it's so pretty. And this cat reminded me, I had a cat named Cricket, and she was a Himalayan. She had long hair. So I added her. And this is, I was making some paper buttons out of some book pages. These were a lot of fun. I got the inspiration from Carla, and I just added some different yarns here and just glued that on. Here's another whimsical page, and this reminds me of the little kitty down the road from me, Willow. She's a calico, and I just love her to death. She's just the sweetest thing. I'm going to be pet sitting for her in a bit, and she's just so cute and dainty. I love calicos. They're beautiful. I like this page. This was the page that I had added to the journal. And so sometimes then I'll just journal around it. I loved the window, and I loved the little saying, a window. A window is a place to look and see the beautiful trees, a place for wind and air to come and go as they please. Most of all, a window is a picture hanging on my wall. And I love that because I sit out a lot and look out my window at my birds, at the deer, at nature, at the snow. And I love that. So I just added the squirrel. Gratitude changes everything. Then here's just a cluster I made with some scraps and a leaf. This page I love too. It had this house and this little house, and this was out of a craft book. So I just got my paint pens out, and I just did some coloring. I added some clouds. I added some color. I probably will go back and add some color to this house. And then just here's a random cluster using some leaves I picked and some painty papers and some scraps. I made some envelopes out of some book pages and then did some doodling. and some like just added some little sayings. And here's one of my paper buttons I made. Then this is just part of a kit with some stickers. And so I just added that. And then inside here, I just did some writing on just a scrap. And I just wrote, I love this journal. All sorts of funness in here. So I like having pockets and things and places to tuck little things in. This is a loon. This was just out of a book, some craft book. And so I just added some paint. And then I just added this cluster with the leaf. Here's another spread that I did. This is just using scraps. Here is a tuck spot that I made using playing cards and painty paper. And then in here, I just added this little crayon and I wrote freedom to create. And then I had the Monopoly money and I just did some journaling. I did this spread. I was pet sitting. And so I worked a lot in this journal that weekend. And so I just added some funness. I love adding birds and some stars and some washi tape, I think, some scraps of paper, a paper flower. This is part of another children's book and I kind of collaged it together. I added this rabbit. I added Snoopy and Woodstock. Here's Charlie Brown hanging out. And then I had this puffy sticker for Thanksgiving. And I just added some book pages. Here's some washi tape, some fabric. So just collage. I love doing collage. Now this spread I did a YouTube video on and I will link it down below. This is just a fun, whimsical spread. And I had an idea for this spread. I wanted to make a sky and I wanted grass and I wanted to use one of my whimsical houses and I wanted to use some of the leaves I had picked outside. So the tree came from a children's book and then I made the stems, the branches from a paper bag handle. And then I just added a bunch of little woodland characters out of different books. Added some paper flowers here just for today. And then I added some clouds using tissue paper and I added a planet. And then I added a bird and I drew some flowers down here in a little rockway. Or here's a little frog and a seagull. And here's some beautiful, this is from Carrie over at the Paper Monkey, some fabric ruffle, Discover. So it's just very whimsical. And then I like using children's book pages just sometimes just in the journal, and then I don't really do anything to it. I just leave it. Raggedy Ann and Andy, I love this book. This was just a big turkey sticker I had, and I just added it over this wallpaper. I left this also, and I just added this little cluster card that I made. Then I had this big piece of cake, and I love cake decorating books. I think they're just fun and beautiful, and I don't know why, but it's just the pictures of cake sometimes, they're pretty. And so this is just a really pretty picture with the little colored jellies or candy on the cake. And then I just added my bicycle and some stickers, just random. Another spread here, I just added some circles and hearts. Another little lady that I drew. I think this was the first girl that I had to go at. And then I just made her outfit from some craft book paper. Thought that was kind of cool. And so here's another envelope that I had added to this journal. And inside here is just some goodies that I haven't used yet. So I might use those, or I might journal on the back of this. I did use some of these stickers in here, I think, with the llama. And then here's a little envelope that I have here, and there's a card in there. I haven't journaled on that yet. But this one, I just added one of those stickers, just one of my whimsical houses. This is part of a calendar. I added some stars here, just some stickers, and just easy, fun journaling. So I like this page too. This is fun. So when I add playing cards. A lot of times I'll use it as a tuck spot, but in this journal, and I think I did it, I don't know if I mentioned it. I think I skipped this page. I meant to show this page. So let's go back to this page. This is one of my favorite spreads in this whole journal. So I like to add these big flashcards to my journals. And a lot of times I'll tuck something behind it. But I use this in a different way in this spread. I added this little bear peeking out of it. And then I added some stuff to the actual flashcard. I did some doodling and I added this little chipmunk. And I just love how it turned out. Just added some random words. This is a cluster. Here's some doodling I did. This is another bear that I had out of Alaska magazine. Another cluster. Another one of these book pages with the picture already there, and then I doodled around it. And just love how it turned out. So that's one way I like using the cards. Have things kind of peeking out, and then I draw on it. Like this one. So for this one, I had this beautiful cat, and so I just kind of tucked her out coming out from the card. And this is just a bunch of different cats. I added some wrapping paper. Then I had this beautiful Christmas card, and so I just glued around it and added a pocket. And these were some paint chips I picked up this weekend. I just added some fabric. I'm going to journal on them, but I just liked how they're just sticking out. So sometimes that in itself can just be a page. Just color, just pretty. Here's the only blank page I think I have left in this journal. And here's another one of my little paper trashy dolls. And I just drew a polka dotted skirt, and behind it I just glued part of a doily, and this is just on some Dollar Tree paper. I love her big eyes. I just used my colored pencils. This is just a scrap of my painty paper, and I just paper clipped her there. I liked how it went with the pink fabric. And now we're at the back of the journal. Here's a large journaling card I made just using some collage on both sides. And I like this wallpaper, so I didn't really want to cover it up. So I just have that hanging out there. And then back here is just another tag that I made using some scraps and fabric and bird book page. I just have that tucked in there. So that is my November journal. It filled up really nicely. And I added something pretty much to every page. I made a nice little dangle here, and I just wrote my name. I just remember being a kid and going into stores like gift shops, and you could find different things with your name spelled, whether it was like a bracelet, or it always had it seemed like in like the tourist shops, like on vacation. And sometimes they would have my name and sometimes they wouldn't. My name was a little bit popular when I was younger. You don't hear Amber too much anymore. So I just added my name. This is just some of my paper beads I like to make. And then this is just from a thrift store. This is just part of a piece of jewelry that I had. So just some random stuff, and I just paper clipped it. So that is my November journal. I hope that this gave you some inspiration and some ideas if you are looking to get into junk journaling. I don't want to always assume that everybody knows what junk journaling is or memory keeping or this style of journaling. So it's just nice to see what other people do and how they journal and how you can journal, or just if you're looking for ideas or alternative ways to memory keep. This is just one way that I like to do it, and I'll be sharing some other ideas with you. Okay, I hope that you got some inspiration. I hope you find some time to get outside and enjoy some beautiful weather. And I hope you find some time to create for yourself. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon.